All right, so for these tutorials, you're going to need a couple things. You're going to need to install Node.js. I guess you can get the latest features or the one that's recommended for most users. I installed this one. You're also going to need Visual Studio Code. Just download the default one here. Download and install that as well. And what we're going to do next is we're just going to jump in and to Visual Studio Code because I have all this good stuff installed already. So here we are in Visual Studio Code. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do File, and then I'm going to go to Open Folder. And in my Documents folder here, I usually just create a folder, and I'm just going to call it Learn Angular. And what I do is I put all of my files, and you can see I already have one created, inside of this Learning Angular folder or Learning JavaScript or whatever. So for this one, just because of the sake of the tutorial, I'm just going to type L Angular. So this is just going to represent Learn Angular. And then I'm going to select this folder. And inside of our L, again, standing for Learning Angular, we're going to go ahead and create our Angular app. Now remember, you need to install Node. So I'm going to right click here and I'm going to go to Open an Integrated Terminal. And inside this terminal, let me hold Control and minus to shrink this a little bit. You can type in node-v to see the version that you have. So this shows that it was installed. And this is really all you need to know. Okay, if that's installed, then pretty much the other node-based stuff is installed. The next thing I'm going to do is install Angular. So I'm going to type npm install /g, which stands for global, at Angular /CLI. And I'm going to pause it as that installs. Now, it doesn't show it, but you can see here that it tells you the version and that it's been installed. So let's go ahead and actually install our Angular project. So I'm going to go ng new cell video games. So maybe we could do cell video games. Well, we'll do actually let's do an art site because I'm an artist and I love, maybe I want to sell some of my own art in there. So ng new cell -art. And really it could also be a portfolio site, but for now, let's say we're making a commerce site for selling art. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. And what that does is that'll create our first Angular site. And by installing it, ng is our kind of our keyword or command for installing or creating, in this case, a new site for Angular components. So do you want to enforce stricter type checking and stricter bundle budgets in the workplace? I'm actually going to hit no on this. And the reason is most people hit yes because it teaches good programming practice. If you're first learning Angular and you have this on, and you're following tutorials or whatever from the internet along with this one, and if you have this checked on, you're going to get all these errors if you're doing things that are unconventional. And so by typing no here for following stricter things, you'll have a little bit more leniency while you're learning, and you really do want to be making mistakes. Now, somebody else might argue, well, okay, but then you're allowing them to you're allowing people to do bad practices. I feel like learning good practices comes later when you can understand the syntax or you're like learning the system. So I'm going to go ahead and hit no. I mean, it's just a philosophy of my own. Would you like to add Angular routing? The answer is yes. And then we're going to go with CSS, the top option there. And then I'm going to let that install. All right, so you can see here that it created the Angular project for me. At first, you might feel a little overwhelmed, right? We have all of this stuff. Like, what the heck is going on here? Don't worry. Over time, we'll get there. So it'll get a lot easier. So how do we run this project? Well, if you installed everything correctly, which really it's not that hard. We kind of went through the process. Just type ng serve. Now, if you run it like this, it will open it in a new window. But say every time you run this project, you want it to be opened in a new window, just do -O, like you see there. I'm going to hit Control and plus, so you can see that a little bit better. And then I'm going to hit Enter. And you'll see that, let's see, the serve command requires to be run in an Angular project. Okay, so I'm happy that this error came. Notice that it says lang here. I'm actually going to right-click on cell art here and open it to Integrated Terminal. You could do cd cell art to kind of get you there. So let's do ng-serve-o. And now you can see it's going to run my project. It's going to build it for the first time. Hopefully, looks like it's thinking. There we go. I'm going to pause the video and let it run through its setup. And now you can see that we have our first Angular project. Now this is all default code. And if you're wondering where exactly all of this code is, it's actually right here. If we go into our cell art here, source, app, and you'll notice it creates these different components, which can make you make you feel a little like again uneasy. The only thing we really care about, to be honest with you, is if we go into this app component HTML, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit, Control minus. All of this really doesn't matter. This is all boilerplate code they give you so that you could see how they set up that project. But we want to do everything from scratch because without doing it from scratch, like essentially you don't really learn as well. You know, like at least that's how I find for myself is like I kind of need to do it from scratch. I need it to be over amplified. I need to go get coffee and come back. I only really need this router outlet. This is what's going to route all of our future components that we create. So for example, let's do H1 here. Welcome to Alex's portfolio art site, exclamation point. Now watch this. I'm just going to, for a second, open this guy up here and just dock it on the side. And I'm going to dock this on the other side. Now I'm going to hit Control S, and you'll notice it updated on this one. And we have Welcome to Alex's art portfolio site. And if I add an exclamation point here at the end, and I hit Control S, you can see it updates here. So that's kind of a nice thing that it auto updates. With that said, we're going to end this video here, and then we'll move on. We'll move on from here to expand on this.